All right, folks, listen. What's the rule here? We don't like Biden. He's a means to an end. All right? None of us should be excited about a Biden presidency. Only, I guess, relieved at the absence of a second Trump presidency. That being said, the absence of a second Trump presidency is important. And man, oh man, I don't want to jinx it. And there's still variance before the election. But holy shit, does it look like it's going to be a blowout? Like a real goddamn decent chance of a blowout, folks. I'm going to give you a little walking tour, if you will, and then we can stop by the zoo to watch the Fox News hosts coping with this information. If we take a look over here at, this is Google. If we go to 538 presidential polling average, we can now see that at this point on October 7th, Biden is 9.5 points on average ahead. 9.5. I need you to understand how far that is. At this point in time, during the election prior to the first Obama presidency, so in 2008, the difference was 5.7. And that election ended up being a blowout. This right here is what happened in 2008. Obama got 365 of the electoral versus the 173 of John McCain. Nearly a 200 electoral vote difference. And that was with a 5.7% average lead in the popular vote, not a 9.5. Now, the math here is complicated. Let's talk, all right? Let's talk about it. First of all, popular vote does not directly transcribe onto an electoral college victory. If anyone remembers 2016, it's possible to win the popular vote and still lose the electoral college. And the math behind that gets really complicated, of course. The basic gist of it is that the more populous a state, the less a vote is worth proportionally. What this means functionally is that the Electoral College is a crutch for the Republican Party. Without the Electoral College, the Republicans would never win a presidential election again. Maybe once in a blue moon. It just wouldn't happen. There are far, far, far more Democratic voters than there are Republican voters. The popular vote almost always trends in our favor, at least in modern times. But because a person in Wyoming has a vote that is worth 3.7 times as much as somebody in New York or whatever, hey, there you go. The issue is the gap between Republicans and Democrats is most accurately described. There are many lines you can break that down, but one of the biggest ones is rural versus urban living. People in urban environments are more likely to vote Democrat because they tend to be more educated. They tend to have more opportunities around them to experience other sort of cultural signifiers. They tend to live in more diverse areas so they can see black people and know that they are people. But not everyone in rural areas gets that. It doesn't mean there's an inherent sort of intrinsic component here. It doesn't mean if you're born on a farm, you're guaranteed to be terrible, and if you're born in a city, you're guaranteed to be not. There are terrible people who live in cities and wonderful people who live in rural areas, but these trends pan out on average pretty reliably. So if rural people, Wyoming, Nebraska, like these smaller states, are getting a higher percentage weight of the Electoral College vote, it's a crutch for the Republican Party, functionally speaking. We have to recognize that. And that, by the way, is the only reason the Electoral College exists. The Electoral College does not increase the time that presidents spend campaigning in smaller states. It does not increase the care these states get. It doesn't do any of that. It just doesn't serve those functions. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do at all. Presidents only pay attention to swing states. You will never see a Democrat campaigning extensively in New York. You will never see a Republican campaigning extensively in fucking South Carolina. And the reason for that is because you're already going to get that state, dude. What's the point, Alabama doesn't need Trump in there. You spend your time in fucking Ohio. You spend your time in Florida. You spend your time in Texas. It doesn't do its job. It's a crutch for the Republican Party. So, that little lesson aside, back to the hopium. Holy shit! 9.5? You know, traditionally, elections are supposed to get tighter, closer and closer and closer to the actual point of the election. Traditionally, that's what's supposed to happen. That's not what's happening right now. Things are widening. If we take a look at the national forecast right here, updated 21 minutes ago, thank you very much, Silver, we now see, oh, it's even better than it was this morning when I checked. 84 to 16. Each of these dots represents an average of a probable outcome derived from 40,000 simulations of the election, based on statistical models produced in large part by Nate Silver, who is a very smart guy, if a little bit cringy sometimes on Twitter, doesn't matter. What are we looking at here? Well, I've said this many times on stream before. Want to clarify, though. That 16 to 84, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking 16% chance. I've played video games. I've played XCOM. 16% chance of missing a shot isn't a small enough. Like, that's not a small amount. That's not a little bit. Well, keep that in mind, okay? That is true. A 90-10 split, a 90% chance of victory is not a guaranteed victory. That's not how it works. But, giant ass but, okay? This split, this ratio, is a product of ambiguity that still exists because it is not election day itself. That is to say, the farther out you are from the election, the more the probabilistic odds of victory will trend towards the neutral 50-50. But as we get closer to the election, there is more certainty and less uncertainty, and therefore, the odds close tighter and tighter for whoever is currently ahead. If the election were to be held today, I think I remember reading that it would be more accurately 92 to 8. Now, there are people, very cynical people, very sad people, who don't trust this because of 2016. Folks, the pollsters in 2016 gave it about a 70-30 split for Trump versus Hillary within the last few days before the election, okay? The polls were, for the most part, correct. The issue was the pollsters, the idiots who interpreted those polls and ran with the narrative that Trump had no chance. The actual math underlying the election indicated that it was about 70-30. And 70-30 is very much capable of ending up with a Trump victory. So many things are different between now and 2016. First of all, average Democratic participation in the primaries was up like 70%. 70%. Whereas just a few days ago, the number of early votes cast were in 2016 just in the thousands. This year, in the millions. There are so many factors here which are still different, which remain different. I know you guys want to be cynical, and you can be if you want. Trump could still win, and we shouldn't get complacent, but my fucking God, dude, things are looking really, really good. Things are looking really good. And that good, by the way, is important because the more of a landslide Biden gets, the harder it'll be for Trump to fuck with it, you know? The harder it'll be for him to contest the results of mail-in ballots or for his stooges to throw out ballots. The more of a margin of victory we're looking at, the easier things get, baby. Look at this. God damn, look at this. This is the same data we looked at above, except it's being weighted by the potential margin of victory. Look at this. With a Trump victory, should it happen, the more of a lead he gets, the less likely that outcome is. With a Biden victory, the mean outcome, that is to say the outcome with the likeliest chance of happening, is a Biden blowout, a Biden lanch, a Biden rock slide right here. It is difficult for me to describe to you how much of a difference this is. My God, look at this. Look at this math, baby. This is the mean right here. Oh, sorry, not mean. Sorry, mode. I meant mode. My bad. Mode. The mean would be here-ish, The mode right here is right here. Sorry, it's been a while since the math classes. You know how it is. That's the mode I'm talking about. If we take a look at this winding path to victory marker we have right here, Florida is, I'm not kidding you, over 3 percentage points favored to Biden right now. What the fuck? Florida. The state of Florida. What the fuck? Pennsylvania is comfortably in our lead. Arizona, 3%. Florida's a swing state, though. That's the point. Florida and a bunch of the other states here that are leaning towards Biden are considered swing states. Even Texas, which currently is about 3.4 percentage points in favor of Trump, is within the swing state territory. This is an incredible lead, and I think we should recognize that. And by the way, folks, it does not stop with Biden. This is the forecast of the Senate. There is a 2 out of 3 chance the Democrats take the Senate. Flat out. Just flat out. The average margin, the average outcome, is one in which the Democrats take the Senate. Blue fucking wave, baby. Here's the House. Look at that. There is only a 6% chance of the Republicans taking the House. See that big blue lump? That's our wave. That's our number. There is a real decent chance here, a real decent chance that the Democrats just sweep Washington. And again, remember, 2 important things. First of all, the Democrats are trash. They're terrible. They're horrible. We'll be working to fix them from within until we can break them, obviously. And additionally, don't get complacent. What does this mean? Nothing. Get out there and vote, okay? Absolutely nothing. This means absolutely nothing, okay? You need to go out there and vote. We're not changing that. We'll be doing a pro-voting stream sometime soon. I want you guys to get out there and vote. I want you to get those mail-in ballots. I want you to drop them off at the ballot. I know it's going to be annoying. I know it's a pain in the ass. I know some of you are young. You don't want to vote. I know a lot of you are too young to vote. You should not vote. That would be voter fraud. But for the rest of you who are old enough, who are American citizens, you have a moral responsibility to make sure, to the best of your ability, that this country does not slip and slide its way down into fascism. And I believe in you. Because nothing is harder for a leftist than voting for Joe Biden, okay? That's what I'm talking about, all right? I recognize this for you, this is suffering, okay? This is a Sisyphusian task, okay? You keep rolling the Democrat boulder up the hill, and then it runs back, it crushes you, but you get up and you do it again. If I were talking to a bunch of liberals, I wouldn't be saying, I go out and vote, and I love to vote. You'd love it. You'd buy like your Warren bumper sticker and your Kamala Harris beanie hat with the propeller, and you'd run through the fields. You'd be really happy, okay? So it is because you guys are leftists that I want to give you all props for allowing yourself to participate in this process, and additionally to feel hope that we may get the less bad outcome from it. Oh, those are some good numbers, baby. Those are some real fucking good numbers. I just love looking at it. I can't stop looking at it, frankly. Man. Of course, the presidential outcome here is the one people are most concerned about. Though winning the Senate would be very, very, very good. Can you imagine if we were able to take all 3 houses of government? Well, 2 houses in the presidency as well. But one way or another, this is what we're looking at first and foremost. It's Biden versus Trump. And I want to talk to you about the odds on Biden versus Trump, just really quickly. What are my predictions? What's going to happen over the coming weeks until the day of the election? Well, keep in mind, Trump is not a dictator, much as he would like to be one. He doesn't have the power to influence electoral results outside of means that he can conceivably legitimize in our current system. And he can only do that through margins. An overwhelming victory is not something he is capable of fighting off. How funny would it be if Biden got like 400 of the electoral college votes and the fucking Pentagon has to drag Trump out by the fucking ankles, you know? Assuming he lives that long. I'm not even going to talk about the fact that he's struggling with every breath right now, you know? Um, uh, which he certainly is. But leaving that aside, um, what are we doing when it comes to moving forward with this election? Well, for those of you who don't know, Trump recently said on Twitter he was ending negotiations to provide stimulus to American citizens to give pandemic relief until after the election. Now, I need you guys, don't think right now as a leftist, just think as a Republican strategist, okay? Trump is less than a month from the election. He is desperately behind. And he publicly announces to a starving, poverty-stricken population that he is refusing to hear out any arguments to give money to the people. Unbelievable. I mean, that's a strategy. About 6 hours later, I think, he backpedaled on it and said the ball was in the Democrats' court to talk with him about his strategy. And I think the number he settled on was like giving people $1,500 or something. $1,500. What is that? Like $50 a week if you roll it back through the entirety of the pandemic? Oh, was it $1,200? It was back to the $1,200, baby. Not even 15. Sorry, $1,200. If you roll that back through every week of the pandemic, that's like no money. It's like negative money essentially. If you got a $1,200 check at this point in time, it would be the same. If you had invested 14 cents back at the beginning of COVID, that today would be more than $1,200. That's true. That's math. That's not true. That was a joke. Just to clarify, that math doesn't add up. It's just not enough. That's not enough money. And he's still making himself look like a clown over this. Trump's little COVID shenaniganry is not making him look particularly good, just speaking frankly. And additionally, I'm pretty sure dude's going to get rushed back to Walter Reed pretty soon. Remember the Herman Cain COVID response? It was, oh, COVID sucks. But wait, I'll do it in reverse so you guys get the linear. Oh, COVID sucks. But we're doing better. We're doing better. Ah, nice, good. Then, fucking dead. Whoops. The thing is, COVID-19 kind of hits you in waves. So for him, after like 5 days, for Trump to stage a fucking propaganda video of him riding a helicopter and then breathing very normally, you know? And then go on Twitter while clearly still hopped up on like painkillers and steroids. It's just going to make it look really bad when he inevitably ends up hitting another wave and he has to go back to the hospital. Yeah. Conservatives argue that it was Pelosi's fault. How do we countervash? So Pelosi said, I don't think we should provide the people this much money. I think we should provide them more money. And then Trump said, fuck you, we're not talking at all anymore. Anybody who interprets that as Pelosi being the one at fault, listen, I fucking hate Pelosi, okay? I genuinely despise her. But anybody who interprets that as Pelosi being the one to end negotiations, okay, all right, dude, yeah, sure, okay, whatever, huff that copium gas, baby, whatever makes most sense to you. Look, there's a lot of variance in what can take place between now and the election day, but you see this difference right here? The popular vote difference right here. I'll go to the old one right here of 9.5. Generally speaking, over the last month of the election cycle, very, very rarely is there more variance than about 2 percentage points. So following that mathematical model, that sort of just general baseline understanding, the worst case scenario is Biden leading by between 6 and 8 percentage points. And the best case scenario is a 2-digit lead. If he manages to win with a 2-digit popular vote lead, that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. There was recently a poll that indicated that elderly voters were now actually leaning in favor of Biden. Maybe Trump's let the elderly die strategy isn't really playing that well with the elderly. I don't know. But the boomers have always been like the sort of forefront of perpetual conservatism in this country. So if even that group of people, even that demographic is turning against him, that's pretty fucking cool. Trump tweet, Vosh. Let's end with this random Trump tweet. What am I looking at? Here we go. Yes. Obama, Biden, crooked Hillary. They keep talking about Hillary, dude. It's 2016. Fuck. And many others got caught in a treasonous act of spying and government overthrow, a criminal act. How is Biden now allowed to run for president? Fucking Hillary, dude. Yeah. Dude, you know the energy of that guy who's like 28 and he's still bitching about a high school ex? You know what I'm talking about? You ever met somebody like that? Like they're an adult, they maybe even have like a job and a life and stuff, but every once in a while they'll still like clearly be like that's what we're dealing with right now, you know? You'll be hanging out with them at their place, you'll be playing Smash or something, and you'll pick Kirby and he'll be like, "Fucking don't fucking bitch Samantha always played Kirby. Fucking dude, I can't deal with." And you're like watching and you're like, "Can I leave?" That's in the Republican Party. I imagine that's what they're going on. I mean, even you can take a look at where their priorities too are too. Look, if we look at Fox News right now, because I want to look at a Fox News segment as well. The videos that get the most views. Hold on, Hillary. There we go. 1 million views right here. Declassified docs show CIA briefed Obama on Hillary's plan to link Trump to Russia. Report. So just so you guys know, this is literally what Trump is talking about right now, is that the president of the United States, Obama, was informed by the CIA that Hillary Clinton was going to do something related to information the CIA deals with. Like, that's literally it. Treasonous act of spying and government overthrow, a criminal act. You know, Trump talks a lot about criminal acts perpetuated by people in the Democratic Party. They haven't led to any indictments or arrest. And he also talks about what a hoax the Russian investigation was, even though it produced dozens of credible indictments and arrests. So that's a really interesting, just a wacky little coincidence there. I'm sure he hasn't, I'm sure it's just a roll of the cosmic dice. So it's all bullshit. He's just roid raging, basically. Wait. Of course it's bullshit. Republicans will lie to you about anything. They're completely shameless. Republicans will lie to you about any information. They have absolutely no ethical adherence to engaging in truth telling. They don't care at all. They do not care. Just so you know. Is it roid rage? I have no idea. Trump has been hopped up on shit on Twitter for a while now, which really, by the way, does make me worry he's going to like nuke Mexico or something. Has anyone seen Trump on Twitter? He's losing his fucking mind over the past couple of days. Just absolutely beyond the fucking pale. I'm just worried, like, he's the president, you know? Like, I know it's funny, but he's also the president. Like, we don't have anything to stop the president from like doing things while he's high. If somebody got elected president, could they just like shoot up heroin and then just glass half the planet? Because they call like the fucking Pentagon up and they're like, "Yeah, dude, just, fucking fucking do it. It's fucking funny, dude." It's only like Asian people or something like that. I have no idea. It's not good though. It's not good. We shouldn't do that. Have a president who could do that, you know.